Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome author, activist, and poet Ian Manuel.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. I'd like to thank GOSO for having me here today. No- None of this would be possible without GOSO's amazing activism. So I'm here to kick the event off with a poem. Many of you might have read my story in Brian Stevenson's best-selling memoir, Just Mercy. He talked about me in the chapter, All God's Children. He actually exposed my poetry to the world in that book with a poem called Uncried Tears. I was still in solitary confinement at the time. You know, many of you might not know my story, but you know, when I was 13 years old, I was sentenced to the rest of my life in the Department of Corrections in Florida. And if it wasn't for the Equal Justice Initiative and Brian Stevenson, I would have died in prison. At the age of 15, I was placed in long-term solitary confinement. And it would be a place where I would languish for 18 consecutive years. From November 1992 to November 2010. But it was my imagination that kept me and sustained me. Albert Einstein says imagination is more important than knowledge. Someone sent me Tupac Shakur's book, The Rose That Grew from Concrete, and I started rewriting Tupac's poetry and shared them with my fellow prisoners. Then they began paying me to write their girlfriends and their wives' poems. So it's anytime you can get a prisoner to pay you to do anything, it's because they're tougher than Simon Cowell, they're tougher than Sandman on the Apollo. They're just very tough to please. So in prison, they used to punish us with PBS. What I mean by that is prisoners like to watch sports and entertainment to kill the monotony of the day. Well, this particular day, they used PBS to punish me. It backfired on them because it was a story about 3 South Bronx teenagers who used poetry to tell their story. And I was exposed to a different type of poetry. I had never been exposed to slam poetry. And I couldn't wait to get back in my cell, so I was rushing to finish the scene on the TV. And when I went back in my cell, I wrote this poem called Every Time I Breathe. And I want to share it with you guys tonight. And it says, every time I breathe, I feel the need to justify my existence, to take this moment that I'm living and enjoy every millisecond in it. My life and my struggles, not many can comprehend it. My desire for freedom burns like a sausage inside a skillet. Tomorrow isn't promised, so I'm thankful for this minute. Though in prison, merely existing, it's like my life has been suspended. But that means it's temporary because I haven't been expelled. And I still got a chance as long as I can in and exhale every time I breathe. Every time I breathe, I'm thankful for the oxygen from the trees and little things like little bees that get overlooked until they sting. Every day I'm faced with obstacles that block the progress to my dreams. But the blockades only masquerades like costumes on Halloween. I've been through enough pain to make a sane man just scream. But instead, I take a deep breath and just breathe. Every time I breathe, the cosmos come out of my nostrils like particles of product coming out of your console. My soul is like a chihuahua you didn't include in your carpool. My lungs relax and collapse like a bottom sitting on a bar stool. Every time I breathe. Every time I breathe, I become an intergalactic being, stepping out of character like a chiropractor, snapping peas. I prayed so many times, it's like I got arthritis in my knees. But I still get down and bow my head because I continue to believe that as long as I can breathe, God's going to make a change. And my circumstances are only chances for me to glorify his name. You don't know me, homie, but there's odds I've already overcame. So if praying works but hurts, then I can stand a little pain. I want to end this part by thanking God for bringing me to these heights. And I make a promise to always honor and cherish this breath of life. Every time I breathe, every time I breathe, every time I breathe. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our MC for the evening, two-time Emmy Award-winning journalist, Kendis Gibson.
How about another round of applause for Manuel and that amazing poem. It is my proud honor to be here. Good evening and welcome to the 2021 Getting Out, Staying Out Gala. We're here in person again. Is that nice? I'll admit one thing. If I pass out at one point, it's not because I'm nervous. It's because I haven't exhaled. These are the first time wearing this pair of pants. I normally would wear a tie for an event like this, but I'll be completely honest, it won't button. Drink up, the jokes get much better with alcohol. I'm Kendis Gibson. I'll be your host throughout this incredible evening. And if you've seen any of the flyers, if you've seen the website for this event over the last few months or so, you know that this Halloween I'm going as Mike Woods. Mike was supposed to be here. He couldn't make it. He's a little bit under the weather. I work for MSNBC, the bastion of conservative news, where I anchor a weekend morning program from 6 a.m. till 8 a.m. And in my work, on screen and off screen, I really do understand the importance of gaining the access and opportunities of being fully supported in the pursuit of your dreams, or of having the resources and freedom to go after what you want in life. A lot of our viewers don't realize this over the years, but I was born in Belize in Central America. Where's the Belize crowd? Sounds like our Olympic committee. I grew up in a two-bedroom house with my mother and father and 6 brothers and no indoor plumbing. And so standing here in front of all of you all tonight, please know that I know the importance of opportunities that GOSO provides for so many people. It's an amazing organization that I've learned about. Now, GOSO's vision is a world where neither a person's race nor contact with the legal system determines their future. The organization partners with people who had been arrested and incarcerated and supports them on a journey of education, employment, emotional well-being, which is really important, through community-based programs like the TRACS program, GOSO Ed, GOSO Works as well, and the Emerging Leaders program, among others. Now, GOSO also collaborates, round of applause for that. And I appreciate that that comes from the back, because I just want you all to know, table 48, table 14, you on the in-house? It's not that you're in the back, you're just being socially distant from table 4 and the rest. It's okay. So GOSO also collaborates with New York City communities to support a culture of nonviolence in an era when there's a dire need for criminal justice reform. And at a time when individuals who've been impacted by the criminal justice system continue to face disproportionately negative outcomes. GOSO's work is more important than ever. A couple of stats while at it, straight off the top of my head. 86% of GOSO's participants stay out of prison or jail. 69% of GOSO's participants placed in subsidized GOSO Works internships achieve full-time employment upon completion. That's worth a round of applause as well. And 71% of GOSO's participants are engaged in work and or school. With each year, dear God. With each year, with every participant, with every new program, cohort, GOSO takes another step toward making its vision a reality. So this evening, we're here to celebrate that progress. This year's gala's theme is called We Are Dignity, in the spirit that we'll honor the resilience, humanity, and potential of the many individuals who participated in and benefit from GOSO's programs. Also, with that in mind, where's the Goldman Sachs table? Oh, there are many. I'm just trying to figure out where the money resides. We're also here to recognize the people, organizations, and communities that uphold our values and make our work possible, including a distinguished group of honorees. Lastly, this evening's event is also an opportunity to look forward to the work that still needs to be done and prepare for what lies ahead. In addition to this year's awards, we'll dive into the impacts of GOSO's programs. There's an online auction and other giving opportunities that you should you see fit, and we hope that you do. But first up, to kick things off, please welcome the philanthropist and GOSO Host Committee co-chair, Lu-Shawn Thompson, and host and committee member and Goldman Sachs Managing Director, Steve Sachs. Welcome.
On behalf of GOSO's Host Committee, it is an honor to welcome you all to tonight's gala. I want to thank you all for supporting GOSO and being advocates for the important work done by this amazing organization.
There are so many people here who made this night special and possible, including each of you that came out to show support for GOSO's first in-person gala since 2019. So we'd like to thank the Gala Host Committee, of course, the Board of Trustees, as well as our sponsors. I'm going to try not to botch all of these. McCann Worldwide, CNN, American Prison Data Systems, Devoy and Plimpton, Goldman Sonnenfeld Foundation, LISC NYSC, Stein Charitable Foundation, and the TIF Advisory Services.
Thanks, Steve. We're so grateful to everyone who stepped up to help, especially during these challenging times. We'd also like to thank our generous donors, including Cheryl and Charles Kushner, and if you're here, please stand, Lauren and Paul Netter, Dan Dees, Tim and Gracia, Susan and Michael Siegel, thank you, Court Golembeck, and sorry if I mispronounced your name, Brian and Lainey Morell, Michael Swell, and the man standing right next to me, Steve Sachs. The work done by GOSO hits very close to home for me. If you knew my husband, the late, great Kenneth P. Thompson, the first African-American Brooklyn DA, then you understand that GOSO's mission perfectly aligns with my husband's life's work, especially when he was in office. The work done by Kenny, that's why I affectionately call him, truly impacted the way DA offices around the country do work. Kenny fought tirelessly for justice, exonerating 21 wrongfully convicted persons from 2014 to 2016. Thank you. He was a transformative leader, and the work done by GOSO truly honors his legacy. Since the passing of my husband, in my own way, I have taken charge to continue his work, whether it's through philanthropy. My work centers around exonerating and releasing wrongfully convicted persons, eradicating racial disparities in the criminal justice system, and advocating for women, for children, and for health, especially for people of color. I've seen firsthand how injustice can impact individuals and families and communities they're part of. That's why I believe wholeheartedly in programs, initiatives, and support that GOSO provides its participants.
That's right, Lu-Shawn. What GOSO is doing, yes. What GOSO is doing through education, employment, and well-being is uplifting and empowering each participant, which in turn radiates through their networks. I personally have seen this through my own involvement with GOSO. Every aspect of what GOSO does comes from a place of respect and dignity. This level of compassionate engagement is what every person deserves, regardless of their background, regardless of their experiences, and that approach is not only the right thing to do, but it's proven to be effective, more importantly.
Yes, 100%, Steve. More than a provider of programs, GOSO is a community built around offering safety, fostering motivation, and ultimately driving success. GOSO has proven that it can positively impact the lives of its participants. The proof is in the numbers, and I know these numbers were mentioned earlier, but 96% of GOSO's participants stay out of prison. 96%. 69% of GOSO's participants achieve full-time employment upon completion of the program. 71% of GOSO's participants are engaged in work in our school, and beyond all of that, GOSO is helping to rebuild communities by helping individuals tap into their greatness and become contributing members of society.
So we're going to take one more opportunity to thank the participants, the guys in the program. So, We Are Dignity isn't just the theme for this year's gala. It's a mantra, it's a guiding principle, it's a pledge that we honor day in and day out, and this next video shows exactly why.
GOSO is a community. It's somewhere for a lot of young men to come and feel safe. You have counselors, you have your career managers, you have so many different tools here to help you.
The people that we work with deserve dignity. The majority of people who are in our criminal justice system are disproportionately Black and brown. The young people that we serve here at GOSO are 95% Black and Latinx. What we're talking about is making sure that they have the same opportunities that everyone else in this country is afforded.
Dignity to me means active recognition of other people's humanity. Dignity is the core of what GOSO does.
When a participant comes to GOSO and they're treated with respect and with care and with love, it builds up their self-worth and their pride, which is dignity.
Dignity means having access to the resources and necessities that you need without judgment.
The justice system takes your dignity away. GOSO restores that dignity by bringing you back up to speed. They give you the space to grow.
We provide educational, employment, vocational, housing. We're providing therapy.
GOSO stands up for dignity through support, through showing up, through keeping its word. That's dignity.
It's not just about providing job training, it's also about attending to their mental well-being, to their physical well-being, ensuring that they have a place to eat, a place to sleep, making sure that every part of their needs, what makes us human, is met.
Dignity means being at peace with who you are, nothing else.
Dignity means having the confidence to be the best version of yourself.
When folks are incarcerated, I think they lose that sense of dignity. And to regain that dignity, it takes all of us to really show them that they can continue to live a full life.
GOSO has a 15% recidivism rate. GOSO costs about $10,000 per person a year, while Rikers Island is up to over $440,000 a year. So something we're doing is working.
We are a second chance. As a human being, we deserve the ability to decide what we want to do with our lives and to be free to make the choices that help make that possible. GOSO is really having an impact in the lives of these young men. It's an impact for generations to come.
We are empowerment. So many of the young men I encounter have a really deep-seated desire to help others. The young men that we work with are equally committed to restoring the dignity of their community as well as just themselves.
We are committed.
We are family.
We are advocates.
We are opportunity.
We are support.
We are a community.
We are dignity.
We are dignity.
We are dignity.
We are dignity.
We are.
We
Are
We are GOSO.
We are GOSO.
We are GOSO.
Coming to the stage, please give a round of applause to President and CEO of Getting Out and Staying Out, Dr. Jocelynne Rainey.
Dignity. We are all here because we understand that dignity is a human right. Every human being deserves dignity. Dignity is what makes it possible for us to pursue our individual goals and our dreams. Since its founding close to 20 years ago, dignity has been at the forefront of GOSO's work. The fundamental belief that regardless of socioeconomic standing, the color of one's skin, a mistake, or frankly a bad decision, the fundamental right to dignity does not change. GOSO has restored dignity to over 10,000 young men through connecting them to employment, education, and the support they need for emotional well-being. This is not easy work that our founder, Mark Goldsmith, embarked on after visiting Rikers Island. And seeing the humanity in the young people he met. He saw himself in these young men and understood that they deserved the dignity they lost being restored. Imagine if we all could see ourselves in those who look different from us, those with different journeys and experiences, those that outside of GOSO we may never meet. We could change the world and the trajectory of lives. We could improve families and improve communities. GOSO is doing just that. In January of 2020, I took the helm of GOSO, excited to work at the intersection of racial, economic, and criminal justice. It wasn't long after, though, that the pandemic hit. And immediately we had to pivot to programming virtually. And you know what? We did it. We quickly learned that the digital divide here in our city, that is real. With so many of our participants without the technology or internet access they needed to engage in our programming. Our funders came through, allowing us to provide laptops, hotspots, and prepaid phones to all that needed them. At the same time, we placed 40 eager participants in jobs in the midst of a pandemic where they were the heroes who ensured that others received the resources they needed during the pandemic. The obstacles, disparities, and injustices that GOSO participants typically face was clearer than ever when the pandemic hit. With over 50% of our participants struggling with housing instability and some returning home from incarceration, we needed to offer the basic resources they needed. It was critical. Fortunately, our donors and funders made sure GOSO could distribute necessities like Metro cards, food, blankets, toiletries, and more. This is what they needed as a lifeline. In June 2020, when we were still in the midst of a pandemic, I'm proud that GOSO was able to be one of the first organizations to open our doors and start serving our participants. And the team has been busy ever since. This past year, we worked with over 550 participants in our community program. We also work with 570 re-entry participants. These are people that are still detained and are incarcerated in our New York City jails or state prisons. Over 40 participants were in paid internships, and 116 of our participants were placed in jobs. And even more spectacular, during this most difficult time, 26 of our participants earned their high school diploma. The stats speak for themselves, the strength and perseverance of our participants, but also our GOSO staff and the many volunteers who have shared their expertise, time, and compassion. Tonight, we are not just acknowledging a year of accomplishments, but we are also celebrating the fact that we're in a bigger and better place to meet even more of our participants' needs on 124th Street. Thanks to the generosity of many of our funders and friends, including many that are here tonight, we have been able to expand our services during a pandemic and serve more participants. Thank you. Meanwhile, our work continues within the East Harlem community. 5 years ago, GOSO added cure violence work to our programming. We are proud that the SAVE team, Stand Against Violence East Harlem, is tirelessly working in the East Harlem community to prevent gun violence. We do it all at GOSO. Our SAVE team is working in the community and with the community to prevent gun violence, and ultimately working to create safer communities. The SAVE team also works with at-risk youth to help them avoid the criminal justice system. So we're helping them when they're coming home, and we're helping to keep them out of this very inequitable system as well. So thank you, SAVE. Tonight, we celebrate our honorees, Chris Wilson, with his lived experience and drive to use his platform to help others. He will be presented with the Justice Transformer Award. Yay, Chris. Scott Budnick, who has proven to be a strong ally and activist, who uses his platform and his privilege to advocate for justice. He will receive the Justice Transformer Advocacy Award. And finally, the people of Goldman Sachs, both past and present, who have used their time, their talents, and their treasures to support GOSO like no other company has. They will be presented the Corporate Leader of the Year Award. The honors tonight would not be complete without special shout out to our board chair, Reg Andre. Who recently announced that he will be staying on the board, or else I'll snatch him up. But he will be stepping down after many years as chairman. GOSO's unique relationship with Goldman was forged by Reg. And for that, and for so many other things, we are deeply grateful. Thank you, Reg. And tonight is also a tribute to each of you in this room and everyone who helps us do more and dream big about the future. The GOSO's Board of Directors and our Action Board, our employer partners, elected officials, and city agencies, including the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice. You too are part of the GOSO community. Volunteers are an important part of the GOSO community. So I'm gonna ask anyone who has ever volunteered with GOSO, has given any of their time, to please stand up. As you can see, the GOSO reach is long. Funders and donors, both longtime supporters and new friends, you are all part of the GOSO community and our devoted staff. You are the magic of all that GOSO accomplishes. Thank you, team. But of course, it is the participants that guide us all the way, who are at the heart of everything that we do and the reason why we're able to move forward, the inspiration for our work and the reason why we keep going. Thank you all, and please enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you, Jocelynne. Thank you. It is great to be with each of you this evening. My name is Abbi Robinson-Hobson, Chief Administrative and Finance Officer at GOSO. Along with the rest of the staff and the entire GOSO family, I share a deep commitment to partnership with justice-involved young men. I truly understand the power and the impact of all of our programs, but I'm here tonight to shine a light on one program in particular, GOSO Works. GOSO Works is a pivotal program that connects job-ready participants to subsidized internships as well as direct employment opportunities. GOSO Works engages internships and direct employer partners across a range of sectors in New York City. In our internship program, GOSO is funded to provide wages up to the first 240 hours of work, at which those internship partners can also hire our participants as employers. GOSO Works is a critical piece of the puzzle because employment plays such an important role in an individual's lives. Success in the workplace unlocks economic opportunity and advancement and factors into self-esteem, stability, and career opportunities. For many of our participants, a GOSO Works internship or a job is the first employment experience, and it's space for them to use and develop both their personal and professional skills that will aid them in so many other areas of their lives. GOSO Works is about so much more than internships and job placements. We arm our participants with the skills they need to succeed, and we match them with employers that are most aligned with their goals. We also continue providing support after employment, including encouragement to pursue further education, training, career advancement. The experience is foundational for our participants, helping them take significant, meaningful steps towards their lives, the lives that they envision. It is also profoundly rewarding for our internship partners and our employment partners who play a direct role in developing talent and making their workplace more equitable, all while growing their workforce. Some of our key partners to date include Dos Toros Taqueria, the Horticultural Society of New York, Laz Parking, Hollywood Building Services, and Music on the Inside. In short, GOSO Works is a program that doesn't just offer benefits for everyone involved, but also exemplifies our commitment to and the understanding of dignity. The next video shows you why.
There was a point in time where I really didn't know where I was going in life. I didn't know how to ask for help. GOSO gave me that foundation. They helped me so much to be in a position I am in now.
A lot of these guys that come here, including myself at the time, don't really have a lot of people to just talk to. But here, it's okay to feel vulnerable and express yourself.
GOSO Works is the heart of GOSO. Everything that we're doing around employment and education is really about that connection to the labor market.
We work with our participants and partner with employers so that our participants are matched with their skill set, with that employer partner.
Our main goal is to get our participants into livable wage jobs and allow them to fulfill the societal piece of becoming an adult, working, going to school, paying your bills, being a part of your community. I did 20 years. When I came home after being away from 17 to 37, it was a total different world. And I started out the same way most of the participants did in an internship. And I made a promise that if I can get one person to look in the mirror like I do and say, you know what? Yeah, I made a bad choice one time and I did some time, but I'm home now. And that's my past.
We work with over 50 employer partners, from internships to direct placements with employers.
We have landscapers. We have some employer partners that are nonprofits. I see every employer partner as an opportunity for our participants to explore what's interesting to them and what they need.
Once I started with them, like everything just happened so quickly for me. I was able to land my first internship with Rochambeau Fashion Company through GOSO.
They give you the space to grow, to get to elevate to that level. And they don't make you feel any less than who you are. You're still a human. What you did in the past doesn't make you who you are now.
There is dignity in working, especially for our participants, and it's so important that employers know that there's a whole lot of talent in those 2.2 million people that are incarcerated in America, and we need to invest in that talent.
I never used to have long-term goals before I went to GOSO. My dream for myself is to manifest the greatest person that I am.
That was always my goal, to be a little more sharp, more business-minded. Next thing you know, I started running my own t-shirt company the right way. They helped mold me into this mature young man.
What does formerly incarcerated look like? What does a returning citizen look like? What does re-entry look like in the workplace? It looks like this, and I think it's beautiful.
I love this organization. So everyone, I'm Reg Andre, the chairman of GOSO's board of directors for the past 5 years. And since I'll be stepping down at the end of this year and continuing as an active board member, I promise, this is gonna be my last gala as chairman. So I'd like to take this time to talk a little bit about my journey, some lessons learned along the way, and try to convey my perspective on what all of this means. So, for context, I grew up on Long Island in an all-white town, raised by 2 immigrant parents from Haiti, which is also to say that I didn't have any understanding of the true history or nuance of the American institutional racism or the way our so-called justice system works. So, at age 32, 10 years into my wildly improbable career at Goldman Sachs, I was introduced to GOSO by my close friend, Jeff Golia. And I hadn't for a second prior to that conversation considered that supporting the incarcerated or returning citizens was a worthy cause. But I listened and I learned that 1, the US at every level of government has enacted and or selectively enforced policies that intentionally or neglectfully resulted in the cordoning off, impoverishment, and exclusion from legitimate opportunity for people who look like me. 2, we have a legal system that hunts and incarcerates people for being cordoned off, impoverished, and excluded, then erects a lifetime of intricate barriers for them when they get out. And 3, that all of this is financed by our tax dollars and supported and justified through popular narratives that we all know. So when I learned all of this, I felt angry and betrayed and embarrassed of my own ignorance, but determined to be a part of the solution. So when asked, I said yes and joined the GOSO board of directors. Now, when I look back at this time, I recognize it as the beginning of me unlearning what I had previously known to be true, and the beginning of me reconstructing my understanding of this world, both being necessary steps in anyone's journey in justice work. So then, as a board member, I worked hard, applying the skills I developed at Goldman to do some really important work for the organization, for which I was rewarded with the chairman role and given far more work to do. But I'll tell you, for a while, a long while, I was far more comfortable doing the strategic work than I was being in the office with the participants. I honestly avoided it. I just didn't think I'd be able to connect. I wouldn't get them. I didn't think they would get me. But after being asked a number of times, I decided to face it and show up. When I did, I chose to spend that time just listening to what participants had to say, talking things out with them and just shooting the shit. I'd spend time playing computer games that one of the participants had coded, watching one participant show another how to braid his daughter's hair, talking music while making salads in the kitchen, sharing how we all felt after a guided meditation. I mean, it was beautiful, inspiring. And then at the end of the day, I'd take my $60 Uber from Harlem down to my apartment in Brooklyn, the whole way thinking about the guys who had spent time in a concrete box for jumping a turnstile. Then I'd go home and without a care, smoke a joint to unwind. But then thinking about how many participants had their lives turned upside down for doing the exact same thing. It created this dissonance inside of me. I simply could not reconcile the relative ease, privilege, and access of my life with the confinement of theirs. And no, it's not lost on me that I'm a black man in America saying this. But every single attempt that I made to explain it just was me reciting some hollow narrative about how hard I worked or how bad they had been. It was bullshit. So, if I had to choose between buying breakfast and a Metro card, I would have made the exact same decision they did. And the truth is, these differences are simply irreconcilable. The proximity to the people I was taught to fear and avoid, it opened my eyes. And so that feeling of dissonance, that's me seeing clearly. That feeling persists and keeps me honest about my lot in life to this day, and it compels me to act as though equity and justice in the world around me depends on me. All of this was part of my process of unlearning stereotypes, of fully recognizing humanity where I previously had not, of really hearing and feeling people's stories for the first time, rather than accepting the stories told about them. Now, in their circumstances, believe me, hopelessness is a perfectly rational conclusion. But in the GOSO offices, you couldn't find hopelessness if you tried. The staff and programming, they're really that good. The participants really are that determined. So sure, I worked hard my entire career, but what they are doing is the hardest work, and they're doing it every day, showing up to make a future for themselves and their families in a world trying desperately to define and discard them. So when you all show up, don't pity them for 1 second. Respect them. So throughout tonight, you will no doubt come to better understand just how powerful GOSO's work is, how incredible the staff and programming are, and how GOSO is better positioned than it has ever been to carry out its mission. And I assure you, all of this is completely true. It's absolutely true. But I want to share a different way of thinking about GOSO, how I've come to understand it. GOSO is far more than just an amazing team and programming. GOSO is the manifestation of our collective will to create a more equitable and just society, one that has never existed before. And I mean this literally. The more you show up and act on your own will to create this society, the more people GOSO reaches, the more dignity GOSO fosters, and the more pathways GOSO creates. So I say to you all, either we show up on the front lines to provide direct services ourselves, or we show up by offering our resources, our connections, our access to support those who do. Because if not us, then who is going to build the world that we want? So I'll leave you with this. This is a letter that I wrote to Mark Goldsmith years ago that I've adapted to you all, to include all of you all, who I consider the investors in a more equitable and just society. And I hope you all often take the time to reflect on what a difference you've made in the lives of so many people.
This thing, GOSO, it's one of the most meaningful things that's ever been in my life. So just think about how important it is to the thousands of young men who you've all shown up for. Then think about their families. Think about their parents. And think about their children. I mean, you all really built something. And I stand in awe of it. And so, I thank you all for giving me an opportunity to play a small part in building your dream of a better world. Thank you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our MC for the evening, two-time Emmy Award-winning journalist, Kendis Gibson.
So where is that person? Because I want that whenever I walk into a room. I'd forgotten that I've won some Emmys. How are you guys doing? Doing all right? We're a little loud. It's okay. Enjoying the food. Welcome back, everybody. We've raised a lot of money tonight, so congratulations to all of you. Okay, so we've raised a lot of money. That's at Givergy. The platform is still available for you to give throughout the evening. For the remainder of this gala, by the way, we're going to shift our focus to the honorees, recognizing this year's outstanding Justice Transformer Educator, Justice Transformer Advocate, and Corporate Leader of the Year. First up, the Justice Transformer Educator Award. As the CEO of Rethink Capital Partners and the managing partner of Rethink Education, our first presenter understands the power of educators and the role that they play in empowering individuals and building better communities everywhere. He served on the boards of several impact-focused education technology companies, including Advanced Prison Data Systems, Cinematic Health Education, and Knowledge to Practice, among others. In his work, his philanthropy, his efforts are focused around providing opportunities for low-income children and improving healthcare in underserved communities. In all that he does, he demonstrates an unwavering, really, commitment to equity, economic empowerment, and community development. So please, a round of applause right now if we welcome Rick Segal.
I feel a little bit stunned in that what I do pales in comparison to the work that GOSO does, and certainly to the work that my great friend Chris Wilson does. And it's been so much of an honor in my life to have met Chris and to have become so close to him, and he's so close to me. And it's made me understand so much about different communities and about different life trajectories. Where you come from and where you end up do not have to be predetermined. And Chris is the greatest example of that. And I'm so proud to introduce Chris to all of you, because he is truly someone who has changed and changes lives on a daily basis. And more important than that, he lives his life as an example to everybody. I've never met anyone who gets up every day and says, I'm living my best life, and he means it. It is incredible, the energy, the spirit, the passion, and his real belief in how great life could be. Oh, did I say? I had something to read. Wow. Let me go back. I didn't know that. This will make it a lot easier. Can we roll to the top? All right. Yes. All right. Without question, wait, Chris Wilson embodies these characteristics in every sense. At the age of 17, Chris was convicted of a crime and sentenced to natural life in prison. He went on to serve, this is so easy. Wow. He went on to serve 16 years. He always told me 17. Chris, check me out on that math. He earned his high school diploma and Associate of Arts degree, graduated from all available vocational shops, and taught himself to speak and write in several foreign languages. He also became a mentor, started a career center, and founded a book club. Upon his release, he returned to society a changed man. But what's most incredible about Chris's story is what he has accomplished since. He's the owner and founder of Barclay Investment Corporation, a multi-service social enterprise that works closely with local workforce and social service providers to connect unemployed Baltimore City residents to job opportunities. He also spearheads Master Plan Productions, a social impact content development company, and the House of Da Vinci, a high-end furniture restoration and design company. Furthermore, he has packaged his life experience and life lessons into the motivational book, The Master Plan, available over there. Did I get that right? It's a bargain at $30. I paid way more for my copy. His experience and life lessons into the motivational book, The Master Plan, My Journey from Life in Prison to a Life of Purpose. Chris Wilson is many things: a serial social entrepreneur, a storyteller, an artist, a social advocate, an author, and now he's GOSO's 2021 Just a Transformer Educator. Let's take a closer look at his work.
Chris Wilson is one of the most talented human beings that I've ever met. He is someone who exudes optimism. He is just the most true and genuine friend.
Chris is an amazing and energetic person. You can never talk to Chris and not hear about 3 things that he's working on and thinking about.
Chris has an impact on any and every life he touches. He was allowed to leave prison because he presented to the judge what he calls his master plan. He converted that master plan into a book. It outlined everything that he would do, befitting that he be released. And that described creating a business, getting his college degree, and that he would be a leader within the community if he were let out. He laid out the plan and he followed it and exceeded every expectation.
Over his life, he's been an entrepreneur, and he still is, always working for education for people who've been impacted by the justice system.
Chris has made a focus on building in the city of Baltimore businesses that work and matter, hiring people who oftentimes were unhireable. Chris has made it a habit of being able to go inside of our churches and our schools and our prisons and talk to people about his life and his journey, and not just to serve as an inspiration, but also been serving as a guide and a mentor and a pathway. And he exudes this idea of the beauty of redemption, that we all need our second chances. People should never be defined by their worst moments.
What really strikes me about Chris's art is the connection it has and the storytelling it does. Every piece that Chris does has a reason behind it and a thought process into what he's trying to say. For example, this piece behind me is an example of the black butterfly of Baltimore, showing areas that have been disinvested over time.
Chris celebrates his life every day. His personal journey is inspirational. His influence on others is almost immeasurable, and that's what makes his life so important to others.
There is nobody on this planet who embodies the word dignity more than Chris Wilson. He's someone who doesn't just seek to provide that pathway for people to understand other people's dignity, but he's someone who, through his own example, through his own words, through his own gift, really also helps people to see the dignity within themselves. The most beautiful thing about Chris is that he's not done. He is just getting started. And our world is going to be better off because of it.
Oh, man. I did not expect that. I don't know how you guys got all of that footage, but it was beautiful. Thank you so much. And I'll be brief. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to receive this award and have my work recognized. And what I want to share with you all today is a conversation I had with my grandfather 25 years ago when he was dying from cancer. And my grandfather raised me. He was like a dad to me, and he was always hard on me, very strict, but he gave me everything that I needed. And I just, for most of my life, I'm about to turn 43 in December, and I never understood why my grandfather, why my school counselors, why my track coach, why everyone I know has just been so hard on me. And when my grandfather was dying, he shared with me stories about fighting in the Korean War, losing his family members in Mississippi, and going to school and just being a counselor. And before he died, he kept telling me that I didn't go through all this stuff for you to dishonor my name. I was lost at the time when we had this conversation at 16. I was smoking weed. I was, just didn't figure out what my purpose was. And my grandfather kept telling me, you have a purpose. And I would tell my grandfather, I'm not good at school. I'm not good at any sports. Maybe my sister, but I'm not the guy. And he was like, it's you. And then my grandfather, before he passed, he made me promise that I would come up with a plan to turn my life around and find my purpose. This was 25 years ago. 3 months ago, my grandmother passed away at the age of 96. And we did a TV interview. My book is out, and folks came to my house, and they interviewed us, and I was surprised that my grandmother turned to me and said, you know what I'm most proud of Chris, is that he's finally figured out what his purpose is in life. And briefly, what I want to share with you is when I was away in prison, I went to prison as a juvenile and sentenced to natural life in prison. I fell into a deep depression, but I knew that I was a good person. I knew what everyone had told me, that I had a purpose, but I just didn't know what it was. And so what I figured out, mostly through education and reading, it started with Frederick Douglass's biography, and there was a portion in the book where Frederick Douglass became inspired with learning how to read and educate themselves, and then the slave owner had figured out what was going on, and he says, I think it was his wife, and he says, what are you doing teaching them to read? Do you know how dangerous they would be if they were educated? This was the aha moment in Frederick Douglass's life and for myself. So while I was in prison, I think I was around 18 at this age, and I had a life sentence, and my close friend had a life sentence, and I shared this information with him, and he says, Chris, look around. He says, they've taken everything from us. And he says, no one can take away the knowledge that we put in our minds. He says, this is how we become free. This is how we make change in our communities. And so I wrote down what I come to call my master plan. And it was how I was going to turn my life around, but also help other people turn their lives around. And I've been out of prison now for 10 years. As my godfather said, I get up every morning with a purpose, and my purpose is to help as many people as possible. And I feel like the path to help, especially my people impacted by the criminal justice system, is through education. because no one can take that from us. No one. So it's an honor to accept this award from GOSO. I'm so happy about this. It's an honor to work alongside Rethink Education, to APDS. I'm just so happy to be here today. And just in closing, I've never had anyone show up for anything that I've won. I won an award from like the president, I've graduated college or whatever. And so like tonight is the first time that I had my family and close friends, my brother Rick Segal and my godfather like show up, and my staff. I'll never forget this night. Thank you.
Please welcome back author, activist, and poet Ian Manuel.
Congratulations, Chris. In my life, I've seen the power of advocacy. I was arrested and charged with a non-homicide offense at age 13 and sentenced to die in prison. But with the support of Bryan Stevenson's Equal Justice Initiative, I was released in 2016 after serving 26 years. It was the Equal Justice Initiative's tireless work, dedication, passion that helped me achieve justice, change my life, and share my story. The Justice Transformer Advocacy Award recognizes individuals who are equally devoted to justice, who use their skills, influence, and available tools to make a difference in the lives of others. This year's recipient might be best known for his work in Hollywood. In 2019, he executive produced Just Mercy, the feature film adaptation of Bryan Stevenson's best-selling memoir of the same name. But beyond film set, this powerful advocate has done equally impactful work. For years, he volunteered in California state prisons and advocated on behalf of prisoners, going on to be named the 2012 California Governor's Volunteer of the Year and become a leading force in justice reform. In 2013, he formed the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, an organization that provides and supports an advocacy network for and formerly incarcerated men and women by pushing for fair policies in the juvenile and criminal justice systems and providing reentry services. To date, ARC currently serves 1,400 formerly incarcerated members and 6,000 men and women still inside prisons and facilities. Over 41,000 people have been impacted by ARC's policy advocacy work. I think that deserves an applause. In every sense of the word, Scott Budnick is a true advocate. Let's take a peek at his journey.
The path that led Scott to this moment outside this prison is transformational. After a 16-year run in Hollywood, a sense of purpose was missing. He found it when a friend randomly brought him to a creative writing class at a juvenile hall, and he met teenagers sentenced to life in prison for bad decisions they made as young adults.
I did not want to live in a city, a state, a county, a country that would do that to a child. So I told those kids on that day, I'm gonna start teaching this class every Saturday, and if they are committed to their own change and transformation, then I'm by their side till I'm done.
It was teaching those classes that profoundly changed something inside of Scott. He dropped Hollywood completely and devoted his entire being to a nonprofit he started, called the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. Realizing mentorship to get young people out of prison wasn't enough, they needed resources to keep them out: housing, career development, counseling. ARC helps bridge the gap between leaving prison and transitioning into the real world. It's impacted 19 different laws in California.
A group of laws that affected 26,000 young people in prison in California.
It's moments like these that Scott left Hollywood for. And yes, his nonprofit has changed countless lives. But while in his heart he's a humanitarian, at his core, He's a storyteller. He combined both passions to truly make his biggest impact. So he started One Community, a co-finance company to make movies that bring social change. Their first was last award season's critical hit, Just Mercy.
Being able to integrate my world in the entertainment business and my world in the philanthropic and political worlds and bring them together for massive social change was absolutely one of the most special moments of my life. This is what gives me kind of my oxygen to keep going. This is what brings value and purpose. It makes me a better husband. It makes me a better father. Like my time on earth is worth something.
And when he can help transformation lead to second chances, it's better than any Hollywood ending.
What's up, GOSO family? It is such a joy to be with you virtually tonight. Sorry I'm not there in person. It's actually my son's birthday, so I had to stay home. But so honored to receive the Justice Transformer Award and to be in your presence tonight for such an incredible organization. I walked into Juvenile Hall in 2004 and met a kid named David who just got sentenced to 300 years to life and a bunch of other kids who were facing life. And that day was the most transformative day of my life. I ended up quitting the movie business, ended up starting my own organization called the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, ARC. And so much of what we did was modeled after Getting Out, Staying Out, was modeled after what you've done with the success of your jobs programs and career programs. It is just an honor. It's a blessing to be able to receive this award. Look forward to being with you guys in person, and God bless you for all the incredible work you do.
Please welcome back to the stage GOSO's President and CEO, Dr. Jocelynne Rainey.
At GOSO, it takes a supportive and connected community to ensure our programs and initiatives are successful. That community includes exceptional corporate partners like Goldman Sachs. Dozens of Goldman Sachs team members have volunteered their time, skills, and expertise to GOSO, inspiring fresh ideas, empowering participants, and impacting the lives at all levels of the organization. From financial literacy to job readiness to networking, these volunteers have offered vital and compassionate guidance, professional development, and have delivered an immeasurable impact. At its core, Goldman Sachs is an institution that understands the value of staying continuously involved in the communities it serves. Its embrace of GOSO's mission and values represent the company's fierce commitment to service and to helping previously incarcerated individuals lay the foundation for success. They understand that these are the young people that are the talent of today. It's truly an honor to recognize the people of Goldman Sachs, GOSO's 2021 Corporate Leader of the Year. Let's take a brief look at their community contributions.
I first learned about GOSO from the same source that many others learned about GOSO here at Goldman, Reg Andre.
Reg brought this to Goldman Sachs, and it was something that really appealed to me. When I got out and met people within the GOSO organization, I was just amazed by the impact that the organization has.
When one of your colleagues is really passionate about something, that galvanizes a whole bunch of other people to want to jump on board. And then once you go to a GOSO event and you see the impact, you are just motivated to do more.
GOSO serves a community which is mistreated, mischaracterized, and often misunderstood. And so that was why I wanted to get involved.
Meeting these individuals and starting to understand the issues that they're facing and how important the program is made all the difference to me in the world. It's what really got me hooked.
I support GOSO because of its mission.
The mission of GOSO resonates with me, giving people dignity, including employment and emotional well-being.
I support GOSO because it's the kind of organization that Goldman Sachs wants to be associated with. It's effective, it has a high ambition, and it makes a difference in people's lives.
GOSO has proved over the years its ability to make a change.
People at Goldman Sachs are incredibly talented,
have a ton of knowledge, have a ton of expertise, have a ton of resources, and a ton of access, and a ton of connections. When you can put that to use for good, they show up. Goldman Sachs employees make up the largest pool of GOSO donors and the largest pool of GOSO volunteers.
GOSO has had over 300 employees from Goldman show up to support the mission of GOSO.
It really speaks to us at Goldman Sachs that we want to give back. And this is an area where giving back has such a tremendous impact.
We're trying to get people to start businesses. We're trying to get people hired. People at Goldman are pretty uniquely qualified to help, but also I think it really hits home to a lot of the key issues that we're dealing with as a society.
I've supported GOSO in a number of ways, participating in the gala, participating in various events, and making sure that everyone on our team knew that GOSO had an important mission and that they could spend as much time on supporting GOSO as it took.
I regularly helped out with the resume building and job skill building workshops. This is without a doubt the best 3 hours I spent out of every single one of my months. The infectious attitude that working with the guys in the program firsthand bring, I honestly wish everybody could experience that.
I support GOSO because it provides its members and participants with dignity in life.
Because it provides a catalyst for change.
I see how the initiative has allowed a lot of people to have a second chance.
I support GOSO because of the participants and the staff.
The high level of success it has in accomplishing its mission.
You guys continue year after year to provide such amazing support and resources for some of New York's most vulnerable communities.
I support GOSO because I see an organization that absolutely, tangibly making a difference in people's lives.
Because of the way it makes me feel and the joy that it brings to me to be involved in this particular mission. I'd want to say to the other volunteers, stay involved.
Keep at it, keep providing your time, your energy, and your financial resources.
A little bit of mentorship, a little bit of money can alter a single person's life.
For those of you who have supported GOSO over the years, thank you.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
I just thank the Goldman Sachs people for exhibiting the best characteristics of our firm's culture.
Thank you for your support and appreciate your continued support.
Well, thank you, Jocelynne, for those kind words, and thank you, GOSO, for this award to honor the people of Goldman Sachs for their efforts in supporting GOSO. And I want to thank the people of Goldman Sachs, over 300 people strong, many of which are here tonight. There's a lot on the Zoom, and over the years, many of us have come to help support this wonderful, amazing organization. So can I just ask the Goldman Sachs people that are here tonight to just stand up for a moment? And family members of Goldman Sachs. So why does GOSO have so much support from Goldman? Well, the video says it all, but really not enough. The mission of GOSO is so critical, giving dignity by changing the lives of young men that have been incarcerated and are looking for a way out, a way to rejoin society with dignity and purpose. The mission is so powerful. GOSO does such an amazing job at delivering on this mission. If we can turn around one life, that's a blessing. But GOSO goes so much further than that. They are showing a path to success for young men, their families, their communities. They are helping these young men to get out and stay out. This is the mission that all of my colleagues at Goldman Sachs find so compelling. We at Goldman, quite frankly, are very fortunate. We want to find ways to give back. We want to find ways to reduce income inequality. We want to find ways to eliminate racial inequity and to improve our communities and, quite frankly, make for a better world. It's a lofty goal, but you have to start somewhere, and GOSO is the mission that helps us start. So Jocelynne, wherever you went, thank you for this award to recognize the support by the people of Goldman Sachs. However, there are 2 more thank yous I want to share. First is to GOSO itself. The mission, the commitment, the dedication, the success. Your impact and level of success is phenomenal. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for all you will be doing. But I have a second thank you, and that is Reg Andre. The reason Goldman Sachs knows of GOSO and supports GOSO is Reg. There's no doubt about it, I met Reg 7 years ago. In our second meeting, he told me about GOSO. He dragged me up to Harlem. I watched it in action. I conducted some mock interviews, and at that point I was hooked. And it's the power of Reg, a tremendous leader with an unbelievable heart, that basically got us all involved in this great organization. So thank you, Reg, and thank you, GOSO.
So I'm joined on stage now by the infamous Mark Goldsmith, MG. Throughout this evening, we've recognized individuals and organizations beyond GOSO who exemplify our values and who partner with us to make our vision reality. But behind the scenes, internally, there are many hardworking people striving to ensure GOSO's consistently delivers impact. For the last award of the night, we want to honor one of those individuals.
Thank you, Jocelynne. You know, I don't know how much many of you know about nonprofit versus profit. I came from the corporate world, and I joined and created Getting Out and Staying Out. One of the most important relationships that exist is between the executive director and the chairman of the board. We had an unfortunate beginning with the chairman, and we were looking for a new chairman. Thanks to Jeffrey, our senior director of client services, he suggested that Reg be put on the board. We voted, we accepted Reg. From the day Reg became chairman, and I placed a call to this man, I was never put on hold even once. You were always there for me, Reg. And I thought about what it must be like to have 2 jobs. He's got his Goldman job, he's got his GOSO job. I said, all I can tell you is that the Goldman job obviously got done, or all of you would not be here tonight. So thank you.
Outside of his immediate work, Reg has used his focus and passion to help solidify the pivotal connection between Goldman Sachs and GOSO. He joined the GOSO board in 2014, going on to launch monthly interview skills workshops, encouraged tens of his fellow Goldman Sachs colleagues to volunteer alongside him. Reg has also proved to be a talented fundraiser, as we can see tonight. Chairing the 2016 annual gala, and at the time, making it in the most successful gala in GOSO's history. Yay, Reg. So it's only natural that Reg was elected GOSO board chairman that same year, a role he continues to serve in today. Reg's hard work and dedication to GOSO's cause were indispensable to MG during his 15 years of running GOSO. He knew that he would be there for him, and most importantly, the GOSO guys. Good news is that he is not leaving GOSO, but just shifting from his role as board chair going forward. Come on up, Reg.
You know, the motto of GOSO has always been, it's all about the guys. That's what we care about. Sitting next to me tonight is Devontae. who's been with the program. And I have it on, here he is right here, Devontae. And I have it on good word that he's about to receive a very important offer on a very important position. So I hope you get it, Devontae.
Whew, where do you start when you're talking about Reg? Reg lives GOSO's mission. I knew right away that this was something that Reg cared about so deeply.
I took this job because of Reg. When I first met Reg, I thought this is a person who is really committed to this work, that understands how important it is to break down the barriers for young people who've been impacted by the criminal justice system.
My brother is an amazing leader. When he becomes passionate about something, you can hear it in his voice. He really felt this was a worthy cause. It was something that he wanted to devote a lot of time to, and it was something he wanted everyone he knew to be able to take part in and contribute in some way.
When he talks about it, he is so animated, so full of life.
You have to
want to be involved.
When he does something, he does it with his heart, and he goes full speed ahead.
Reg is a visionary, and I'll see him sometimes when he's in the zone, and I know he's gonna come out of it and be like, oh my gosh, I got it, listen to this. And he just never wants to leave a stone unturned. It means something that is good for the organization, that's good for the guys. He doesn't want to let it go. The work has been so important that it has pushed him to do what often seems impossible because it matters.
Reg has had such a tremendous impact on this organization. He's brought in some incredible board members. He led the effort to bring Jocelynne in, which has just been a sea change for the organization.
Reg helped structure the action board. We've been able to galvanize the support of young professionals in New York to care about the critical mission of social justice.
He's made such an impression on all of us in thinking about how we can really do the best possible work that we can in a way that centers the guys and centers communities.
He's just the coolest, steadiest, most focused guy you would ever want to serve as a board chair because he truly empathizes with the participants and what they're struggling through. And that's always been his chief priority, keeping us explicitly focused on what the participants need.
Working with someone who is that passionate about equity has been a great experience for me as a leader, and has helped me to really be able to move this organization to have that kind of wind behind me.
It's so sad to see Reg step down as being chair of the board, but we're so grateful for all that he's done and all that he will continue to contribute to GOSO.
Reg is a rock here, and I think he's going to remain a rock because he's someone who, much like GOSO, puts a little bit of dignity into all of his work, and that's something for which we'll all always be grateful.
Reg, I love you. I am so proud of you. And Autumn is so proud of you.
Congratulations. You do us proud. Continue to do the good work.
Not know that was coming. Yeah. This organization means a lot, as you all seen, for so many good reasons. It was just me being an ambassador for it. It was actually one of the easier things, right? So I'm grateful. I'm speechless. You guys got my parents on there doing their thing. I mean, this is a lot. But I mean, everyone has already told you, everyone's already kind of made promises on my behalf that I'm not going anywhere, but I'll tell you myself, I'm not going anywhere. And neither should the Goldman Sachs people that I've gotten. I worked so hard to get over here. Everyone, just continue to show up. You know, don't show up for me, don't show up for Jocelynne, don't show up for MG, don't show up for anything, anybody but the participants. That's what this is about. You know, leave here tonight changed, hopefully, and motivated to act on your will. Like, you came here for a reason, act on it. This is not a one-time thing, this is not a tonight thing, this has got to be something, this has got to be your thing when you leave here. You've got to be the ambassadors. That's how this works. So, I'm just going to say thank you again, Tad. You know how to give a good hug. He said, "You're all right, dude." That's what he said just now. So I appreciate you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'm not crying, you are. Big props to Reg. Also, big props to Reg's parents. We have made it to the halfway mark. Now, what an amazing evening, an amazing event this has been, hasn't it? Some amazing speeches, amazing honorees. It's been an honor for me to be here with all of you. We live in some amazing times. Yes, COVID has been hell, and we've been through it, but who would have thought 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, that, I don't know, Kim Kardashian would be a criminal justice reform warrior, and weed would be legal. Y'all know, whatever. We revisited some of, thank you. Yes. Sarah did promise me like one howl at some point, so, all right, well, throughout the evening, we've revisited some of GOSO's most essential programs and their impacts on the lives of so many individuals and communities. We've recognized educators, advocates, corporate partners, and GOSO staff and board members, all of whom play key roles in striving to create a world where race or contact with the legal system have no bearing on a person's access to opportunity. It's been amazing, and I've said that a lot. Y'all have placed bids on some fantastic luxury prizes and raised an incredible amount of money so far, more than $100,000 tonight alone. In every speech, in every video, every message, what has been absolutely clear is the respect, pride, encouragement, and inspiration radiating throughout this room and throughout GOSO. You should all be proud. The spirit of collaboration, the network of support, the commitment to justice, they all reinforce a theme that they have right here. We are dignity. So congratulations to all of this evening's honorees, Chris Wilson, Scott Budnick, Goldman Sachs, Reg. Thank you to GOSO's board members, to the generous donors and supporters, to the sponsors and partners, to the corporate partners, to the program participants, and the staff that put this all together. And to all of you for taking part in all of this. Visit the official Givergy website, or you can also visit GOSONYC.org to learn a little bit more about other ways to give, employer matching gifts, volunteer opportunities, and additional details about GOSO's programs. Once again, thank you all for having me. It's been great being here for my first time at GOSO's Gala, and last probably, based on my jokes. But this has been amazing. Have a great evening, everybody. Have a great night.